Okay, today we're making a French onion soup. This is my personal soup. This is going to be pretty complicated for a couple of you to make. Not so bad for somebody who knows how to cook. Oh, there's a few of you that don't. Okay, what we have today, you're going to need the ingredients. It's going to be 4 tablespoons of butter, 2 large yellow or Spanish onions, not white onions. Too strong for this. Sliced. 2 large red onions sliced. You should get 2 to 2.5 pounds of onion. That's what you're going for. 2 leeks sliced. Remove the very end with the white off. Slice them all the way down ring style until you get up to where the leaves are getting to be too much, and then stop. 2 garlic cloves. 2 teaspoons or 1 teaspoon of salt. Half a cup Cabernet Sauvignon wine, which we have here. Half a cup of brandy. VSOP is good. E&J, the bottle I have here, is pretty good. Yeah, pick your own brandy though. If you want to spend more money, go ahead. 4 cups chicken broth. 3 cups beef broth. 1/4 cup of fresh thyme, chopped. Remove the leaves. Forget the stems. Throw them out. I don't use them. Also 1 teaspoon Dijon mustard. Honey Dijon would be alright too. Use the Grey Poupon. Also salt and pepper to taste. Ground pepper fresh. Don't use the pre-ground. Baguettes. You need to get baguettes from your local bread store. Have them sliced a 1/2 inch and then toast them. And they'll be ready for the top. Also 12 slices of Swiss and 12 slices of provolone cheese. And you'll be all set and ready to go to start making French onion soup, Wayne's way. Okay, now we're getting ready to do this. So I just wanted to show you. First thing, put your 3 tablespoons, I use a little bit more butter, into your pan. Turn your burner on high and melt down this butter. Once you get this butter melted down, and you'll be ready for the next step. Okay, now that your butter is rendered down to a liquid, now what we do is we add a teaspoon of salt, the 2 leeks that we chopped, we'll take them out, we can get them out, and we add them to this, and then we add the 2 red onion and the 2 Spanish or yellow sweet onion. That's a lot of onion. And then you simmer down, and we want to get this till they're caramel color, so we're going to cook them for a while and stir them around under high heat. Now, this is going to take some time to render down these to a caramel consistency color, but you just want to stir it occasionally like this. Use a spatula, it'll actually help you out a little bit to scrape off the bottom. And keep baking these down until you get them down to a nice caramel consistency color to them. It's going to take a while. You see, the leaf you're going to cook real easy. You got to really stir it good to keep these onions cooking nice. So, keep cooking down, keep cooking down. You'll get there. Can take up to 30 minutes to do this. Okay, now that we have that caramel consistency, as you can see, we need to keep scraping the bottom constantly, almost like you would a roast beef hash or something if you were making it on a straight pan. So let's just keep scraping it. Keep scraping up the bottom stuff. Don't let it burn. That's the trick. So you're going to have to constantly move this. You're not going to be able to stop at all at this point. But what I want you to do is reduce your heat down to, on your stove, to 1/4 of what it was. By doing that, you should be like mine. Oop, drop it. Sorry, folks. Had a little technical difficulty. Okay. So like on mine, as I have dropped it to 2. Just to lower the temperature as much as I can. Now, for you beginners,
You're not going to want to probably go to 2 like I did. You're probably going to want to go to simmer so that you can keep it as slow cooking as possible for you. Because a lot of you aren't going to have the techniques down to keep this from burning. So just put yours at simmer or your low, the lowest setting you have. And this is going to take about a good 20 to 30 minutes of this. Of just stirring it like this and keeping it off the bottom. Never letting any piece sit too long in one spot on the bottom. Flipping your onions. And then scoop in, you're leaking onions. Flipping. Flipping. Chopping it up. Scraping it up. Going around. Flip. Scrape it up. Scrape it up. Move it around. Flip. Get up underneath it. Flip it. Mix it up. And just keep doing that for a long time. I know it's going to start to suck, but this is what you're doing to bring out those flavors just right and mild them down a little bit so it's not too sharp on you. This is going to help out in a lot. And in a minute we're going to add our wine, our Cabernet Sauvignon, and also our brandy, VSOP. Add that to the mix. First we'll want to add the wine, then we will go to the brandy. First let the wine go in, then the brandy. Then cook it down so half the fluid is gone. When half of your fluid is gone, then we're ready for the next step. Okay, so now we're about where we want to be. Now I like to flatten out the onions on the bottom to get a nice even cook there. You stripe it right down the middle almost. Take these, flip them over. Take the other side, flip it over. Flatten it back out, you know? And that'll help you get a more even cook over the onions. So just remember that. Okay, now we're ready for the next step, which is we are going to turn the heat up to high. We want to cook on high again. Now once we start hearing this thing start cooking, we are going to hear the simmering start. We are going to add in the wine. Now it doesn't have to be an expensive wine, just a Cabernet Sauvignon. Where I was today, I was looking for French, couldn't find it. They didn't have it at Publix, so I had to grab a little California. But had a wine enthusiast Best Buy 2008, so we'll see how it works. So now you hear it. We got that nice crackle pop going on in the bottom of the pan. Get that sizzling going. Don't let anything stick to the bottom, whatever you do. Use a non-stick pan, always. It'll make your cooking life a lot simpler. Okay, we're going to go to the wine. Now we're going to deglaze with wine. Okay, the wine's in. Now what I want to do is I want to stir this down a little bit. Oh, you can smell the wonderful aroma of Cabernet Sauvignon. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, now we have that in there and kind of mixed in with a nice purplish look to it. We're going to come back in, and here you go with the brandy, VSOP. Half a cup each, just like the instructions I put out today. Come in here, we're going to stir this down now. Now what we want to do is keep scraping this at high heat. Keep doing that, and what you want to do is let it cook down, and you want to get rid of half of that fluid before you go to the next step. Okay, now that we have rendered down actually a little more than half of my wine, now what we do is go to the broths. So we take the beef broth, which I kind of ran out of my mix bowls. You want to pour your beef broth in there. Keep it on a high heat. Stir in that beef broth. Then I want you to go and take your chicken broth. Again, I ran out of my ingredient bowls. They're clean from another project. So now we've got both the chicken and beef broth mixed in there. It's nice and heavy. A little stir. Set aside. Now I want you to grab your salt and pepper to taste. You know, that's pretty much up to you. How much you're going to put in. Fresh pepper is the best, fresh ground. Stir this into your broth. A nice stir through like this. Okay. Then I want you to take your thyme. Now I have personally chosen fresh thyme. I suggest you do too. I break the leaves off. I try to get rid of as much of the stem as possible. And then I also rinse, clean it. Put your thyme in. That's about a 1/4 cup of thyme that you want to add to this. You can add a little more if you like, or a little less. You know, it's up to your taste, what you prefer. Okay, so we've added that. Now I want you to go and get yourself some Dijon mustard. I use Grey Poupon. I'm using a honey Dijon myself, savory honey Dijon. I have not opened this yet. Sorry, but I find honey Dijon gives a nice little... Okay, now when you add your honey Dijon or your Dijon mustard, I use Grey Poupon, like I said. You don't have to use Grey Poupon. As long as it's a Dijon mustard, you're okay. I use a savory honey by Grey Poupon, which is really good, I think, for this dish. You add a teaspoon of that to it and mix it in real well. And what you do is you keep it on high until you get this broth to come to a boil. When you get the soup to start boiling, okay, then I want you to reduce the heat like I have here, and I want you to find your glass cover or your cover for your pan, and I want you to put your cover on, reduce the simmer, let simmer, and keep stirring though. Okay, now after you've let this sit for about 5 minutes and simmer, I have removed the lid. Now, and, you know, just continue to stir. Now what you do is take those chopped cloves of garlic, 2 chopped cloves, and I want you to add those to your mix now. I want you to stir it in real well. Give it a little shake like this to mix it around real well so it don't go all in one spot. And then recover it and let it simmer some more, and you'll be alright. Okay, now while we're obviously stirring our nice soup broth concoction here, what I want you to do is then start working on the baguettes. You take a baguette bread. Now I should have made my own, but I didn't have time, so I purchased. And these are a little small. I like to get them a little bigger, a bigger loaf, but that's what I have to deal with. So you put them in, you got to toast them. And this takes about 30 minutes, so during that 30 minutes gives you plenty of time to toast your baguettes. And use your regular toaster and give them time to toast. You want to have a nice golden consistency about them and not burnt. And while this cooks, and then when you're done with this, I'll explain the rest. Okay, I think our baguettes are done, so I'm going to commence my operation. Now, sometimes a pair of kitchen scissors, KitchenAid of course, can be pretty good at pulling stuff out of there that's a little lower. That's about what you want right there. Grab them out. You don't want to burn them, you just want to tan them a little bit. A little suntan. Sometimes it's hard to line them up in here so that they sit real nice. So you might get a little burnt spot. It's not bad. I mean, you can scrape it if it's an issue. This one's not that bad. So there you go. That's your baguettes ready to go. Now you make enough for your bowls. And then when you're ready, you pour your soup in the bowls. This will go on top, and then the cheese, and then we'll bake. Or actually broil. Until then.